what is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the 9th album of hip-hop group Str8 Mafia. Basically this product is called Last to Walk and it came out in the summer of 2008. So there's a particular kind of build up to this album as far as this pitch can have with it. It's a good type product here to definitely get, but the concept of it was originally supposed to come out like somewhere in 2007. There were a number of singles, like one of which was Doughboy Fresh with Chameleonaire that did not happen on this particular album, and then there was like another single like something like Money, one of those type songs pitched like that. They dropped a series of singles between late 2006, 2007, almost early 2008, but they finally started to get some hit singles throughout the first half of 2008, about the spring of 2008 or so. But basically the pitch behind it, you can find those songs that were, if you're one of these folks who are like, oh wait, if you're one of these folks that's like, oh wait, what about Doughboy Fresh with Chameleonaire? That's a really good song. Well, the thing about it is it's actually available on the Last to Walk mixtape by Str8 Mafia, which also came out in June of 2008. So it's a good type pitch. It's a little bit pricey within the pitch behind it. This kind of a concept. It's more of a rare item just within the pitch behind it. It doesn't have a super ton of new songs on there, but I did review that particular project back in like the spring of 2024. So it's a good type pitch. Another classic, has some vicious type appeals. It's a real great remix album and it has some bonus stuff on there as well. So I definitely recommend that. It's in the Str8 Mafia Reviews playlist. But this particular album is a classic here. It has some excellent type pitches. It's kind of a concept, a little bit beleaguered within a sense, but it does have like a pretty excellent type appeal. Just a vicious classic. This is one of the main reasons why I consistently wish that there was like further Str8 Mafia albums past this one, because this is such a bang up job that they did with this particular one. It outstrips kind of the most known unknown. Very commercial in a sense, very dark, very swirling, has some of their best beats up to that point as far as this pitch can happen. Now they were able to top this album separately as far as this pitch can happen. Both Juicy J and DJ Paul dropped solo albums in 2009, which were pretty vicious as well. Juicy J's Hustle Till I Die and DJ Paul's Scale a Ton were both pretty damn excellent. They continued that particular trend, but they just weren't together and they didn't feature on any of their songs on their solo albums. So it's just been the pitch, but this is the last burst of that. Now, I've said this probably a number of times, but I still think it's a pretty vicious type of appeal that they were originally going to put out another Str8 Mafia album in late 2009 called Laws of Power. That was something I really was wanting quite a bit. I know it would have been pretty vicious, just judging by like the track list of what was going to be on it, and then on top of that some of the singles that they dropped, which pretty much felt like they were going to get a lot more gnarled. Like, you do get pretty tore up on this product. It's a pretty good head trip and party album to kind of get, but just within the concept as far as saying that they had some nastier singles where you even get more tore up than that, and they were going to do that in addition to the solo albums that they dropped in 2009, but it just got canceled, which is very unfortunate. Now luckily you can find that album floating around on YouTube in pieces, but I'll just have to see it. I'm probably going to review that, see if I can download some of the songs, pitches like that, if they're available for free, some of those type fares. But just within the pitch, it is pretty. I would definitely have to suggest that if Laws of Power comes around, just understand that that's even more vicious than this album, which is basically going to get a 10 out of 10. There's 17 songs in this particular product. Now, I'm not going to review the iTunes Deluxe as far as this first going to happen, but just understand those songs are excellent. It's just kind of within the pitch. This would have been a little bit more extra work to have gotten, but basically the two extra songs on there, which would be Bunch of That and Built Like That, just understand the concept that it just continues those trends as far as the aspect kind of goes along with it. Both these songs have pretty vicious beats. They're just pretty ecstatic kind of venue type songs kind of get within those pitches. Bunch of That's a real nice one. It's just a good type of appeal. I don't remember its full bound, but I did purchase this album. I did purchase this album digitally as far as those first going to go. So these are excellent type songs. Just to understand the concept that it's not like you're not going to get your money's worth if you do see some bonus type songs, Bunch of That and Built Like That. They're both worth the appeal behind it. So it's just kind of the concept. But just being able to say this album is a 10 out of 10. Further classics from Str8 Mafia, simple enough to see, obviously, just the pitch behind it. This really has the excellent type fare, just very dark and swirling type album that nails the particular appeal in spades, as I say. So it's a good type aspect. But basically, the lead single that came out in the spring of 2008 was Lolly Lolly Pop the Body, and this is like the first Str8 Mafia single that hit pretty heavily out of the ones they had dropped since 2007. But this is back in those days, back in like the 2000s, if you didn't have a single that was like super huge, the album just wouldn't come out, which is kind of the reason why it didn't come out in 2007. But like I said, you can get the mixtapes, that's dope. But Lolly Lolly Pop That Body is a real effectual single, a real superb one. It's like a classic kind of late 2000s dance club heat to kind of get here. Just a glossy and hella This particular song is glossy and hella hooky. I'd have to say just a good basic ambience for venues as far as this pitch can go. Just good type of appeal. Real simple staple out of the late 2000s as far as this pitch can happen. This real has nice auto tune on their pitches like that. I like the fact that they bring the gang on here. Project Pat's on this album a number of times. That's the thing. Considering that there were not 3 or even 4 3-6 Mafia albums on this particular album, at least Most Known Unknown had the third member Crunchy Black on there, which is a pretty vicious combination. It's really too bad that Crunchy Black at least is not on this particular album. He's sorely missed on here, but it is a concept that a lot of times the replacement for like the third member on this particular album is Project Pat, and they all work pretty damn well. But yeah, it's really unfortunate that Crunchy Black couldn't have been on this project. But it's just kind of concept, just some pitches, Most Unknown to their classic. But just being able to say Lolly Lolly Pop That Body's a nice one. Some extra folks on here like Young D and Superpower. Superpower is one I think that does the hook, but then there's a cat named Young D on here as well, so it's good type of appeal. I'd rather with DJ Unk's a nice one on here. Good song for getting dome as far as this pitch can have a good aspect behind some of these type of appeals. It's like a nice buzz single, I'd have to say. Just basic in between, kind of cruise around, I'd have to say, within those aspects. It's kind of simple type song here, just good, basic kind of in between cruise around breeze, I'd have to say. Typical kind of venue fun, I'd have to say. Just a simple highlight. So it's just kind of the pitch. This one's a little bit of like an ambient kind of 3-6 Mafia song. Not the most vicious song on the album, but just kind of a vanilla type one. The concept of this just being like a typical kind of 3-6 Mafia type fashion, like when you think of Slob on My Knob, some of those type ones, just the same sort of pitch within that particular type of appeal, this basic kind of venue ambience. The production fare on this one is just very kind of mellow within the sense, just kind of one that just feels like one of the most vanilla songs that 3-6 Mafia did in their later days, just with the pitch behind it. Basically, it goes with the same night as Lolly Lolly Pop That Body, but just not as feisty and ferocious, just kind of one that's just a little bit more of like a simple kind of get some drinks and just kind of simp and vibe pitch, just like that. I had to say, it's real good aspect of just like a typical night out, real basic type one, just within the appeal. And then That's Right with Akon is the third single. Now these particular songs, both I'd Rather and That's Right, did not chart that heavily, but they were nice songs within the pitch. But it's just kind of a little bit beleaguered with 3-6 Mafia. I really think if Lolly Lolly Pop That Body had not been on this particular album, this album probably may not have come out within a sense, or at least would have been different within the fare. But it's just kind of the concept that both these other two singles out of the 3 on here were just barely singles that charted on like the hip hop and rap charts. These were not Billboard 100 charting singles. They're just kind of extra kind of buzz singles within a sense. I Rather is definitely like a good buzz single, and it's the same thing with That's Right, even with an Akon hook. But basically, That's Right is like another stock quality buzz single. Kind of get here, just a vintage Akon hustle song vibes. Kind of give like Soul Survivor by Jeezy, some of those type pitches, and it's just good for like clubs and pitches like that. So this is good type tone. That's Right is just a basic kind of bravado song in a sense. Also good for like a little bit of morning wake up as far as this first gonna happen. Just kind of a hot to it within a relative touch sense. Definitely a good Akon hustle song, like I was saying. Just good type of appeal to this. I mean, it's not quite as on the grit type of just fierceness about it, but just kind of one of those type ones for this, gotta buck along, some pitches like that, just get the tone as far as those aspects kind of go with it. Just good type concept for that. But some of these type ones, energy just feels a little bit more hollow within the pitch behind as far as those aspects kind of. I mean, it is a good type song, but considering that Akon was a pretty vicious hook artist, especially when him being in his prime, it felt like almost kind of cookie cutter within the aspect of this particular one. I would have felt like, it's strange kind of getting 3-6 Mafia to do something this commercial. It's kind of within the aspect. I think this would have been a lot more commercial within the sense they definitely sounded more at home with Lolly Lolly Pop That Body, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying the Akon in particular. This song just feels a little bit flat, and it's not to say full band. It's a good song, excellent song within the pitch, but just compared to like the normal Akon team-ups that folks got, it just is kind of more through the motions, more so than the full boundness of it. But it is basically just like Soul Survivor by Jeezy, just a little bit more hollow within the sense, but it is pretty good for venues. So yeah, there's 17 songs in this particular album. I recommend every single one, minus 2 songs on here. And those songs would just be Hood Star, which unfortunately has Life Jennings. I don't mean unfortunate because he's on there, but it's the fact that he's a pretty good hook artist, but he just didn't deliver on this particular song. And then Verse 48. But both these songs are not terrible. It's just within the pitch. I just don't know the frequency of how often I'd listen to them. I pretty much, this whole album slaps the whole way through. It's just a good concept to play the whole thing. It's like a great jolt of energy, especially when it's like randomized pitches like that as far as it's first going to happen. Just having the aspect of just going through the motions with a lot of these. But I just look after it. Basically, First 48 is kind of a horrific type one. It's just like the typical 3-6 Mafia type fashion that they do, but it just was one that just felt a little bit more not as executed as full blown compared to the rest of the beats on here. When you think of beats that are really state of the art, like Roll In and Click Bang and like On Some Chrome and some of those type ones, Weed Blow Pills, I just feel like First 48 is a good song within a pitch, but this is not up to snuff with like the usual parts. So it's just that's why I don't recommend it as much. But it does have some horror type fashion. This album's really not as full bound horrorcore on here. It has some haunting beats on here, but it's not as full blown immersed. That it's kind of pop rap horrorcore. I'd have to say just in the sense because it kind of nails the appeal, but this does it. It's not as gassy as like DJ Paul's 2009 album, Juicy J's 2009 album. That's definitely a pitch, but it does. It's just more commercial, but it nails it for the most part. I mean, or it nails it for the whole part. It's just good type tone. But then Hood Star is like a real kind of pop rap type grab, kind of get within some of those type pitches. It's a real concept. It's kind of one for a little bit more songwriting and personal type song, but just didn't nail the affluence behind it. I would have felt like this could have been like a pretty decent lady song within a pitch, but this kind of concept it just didn't have as much. I don't know. It just felt, I don't want to say like it felt cheesy, but this kind of concept, it just, the execution of this one was just a little bit limper compared to like the concept of what was necessary. This is the only real one on here that feels like it just doesn't match the same particular type tone of this project. It was just kind of like a breath of fresh air that just didn't nail the vibe within the pitch that it needed to. A little bit too, like, maybe a little bit too breathy or something like that. I don't know. It's just when the pitch just felt kind of off, like an offshoot of one. That's the concept here. So every other song I recommend, just go through the list of some of these. One of the most vicious songs on this particular album is Click Bang. Definitely recommend this one if you like if you like vintage kind of 3-6 Mafia in like a real haunted type sense. Click Bang is like a vicious kind of dark 3-6 Mafia vintage nastiness kind of get here. Just a haunting beat. Definitely one of the best on the album, I'd have to say, and a real harrowing hit. This real classic type one, stand out for 3-6 Mafia as far as those appeals kind of have, and definitely need more songs like this on here, but it's not complaining because they do have some other further excellent type moments in spades, so it's a good type concept, but definitely Click Bang's the highlight. Rollin' is just like that one. These are some of the most superb type ones. Rollin' featuring Lil White, which Lil White doesn't rap on the song, but he is on the hook. Rollins like a further searing kind of hot dark malaise to kind of get here to some Benny noise, definitely get hella crunk, I'd have to say. Just prime 3-6 Mafia, I feel like hearing just some hypnotic fun. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying just some further gnarledness just within the concept. These are just both excellent 1-2 punch within some of these appeals, but really this album is just a blockade. It's just kind of the pitch as far as saying so in the aspect. But On Some Chrome is a nice one. This is featuring UGK, one of the last pieces that they kind of did. They managed to snag a couple. Actually, Pimp C is on here twice. It's kind of a good concept as far as those appeals going to happen. On Some Chrome has Bun B on here as well as far as those pitches going to happen. This real nice one, but Pimp C is actually on I Got. These are some of the last things that Pimp C did before he passed in late 2007. I would have to say, like, I really feel like I Got would have been an excellent choice for a single, but I think the reason possibly why they didn't pick it as a single is because Pimp C passed. It probably would have been kind of awkward to have promoted that one, but it definitely has some appeal. So On Some Chrome is like a wintry kind of night venue flash, kind of get here to some good Xmas-y kind of sample. This particular song has a good Xmas-y kind of sample, I'd have to say, within that pitch. Is glissy and stunt music for cruising as far as those pitch kind of goes. So it's just good concept here as far as those aspects kind of go. So I really like the concept, like some just brisk kind of aspects of this, some step out pitches like that. Just good song to stunt to in like December and February pitches like that. It has a good type tone. Further venue heat, like most of the sounds pretty venue ready within the pitch behind it. I mean, there are some neighborhood type ones. There are some night strolls like typical 3-6 Mafia, but a lot of these do have like the consistent venue energy just in the pitch. So if you are stepping out the night venues pitches like that, pounding some shots at like in December, November pitches like that, some good type songs for some of that type of appeal. This wintry type stunt type music for vehicle prone type stuff. Just excellent aspects there. Dirty Bitch is a quality one. This has a real catchy hook on here. This is an excellent type of appeal. It's like a hella catchy kind of venue bopper to kind of get within these tones. Just a jazzy get loose, I'd have to say. Just enjoy the night with. Great song to enjoy the night, I'd have to say. Just homies fraternize. I feel like here good bellas bop as far as those pitches can happen. Basically one of these type ones for just more basic type one for more basic type music, hoochies, fairs like that as far as those pitches can have. A good song to smoke to and vibe to as far as those pitches can go. So just good concept here, just real snappy type one. This probably could have been a pretty decent buzz single. DJ Paul really annihilates this song in terms of the hook. Just real catchy. Love the fact that they threw Project Pat on here. Just an excellent type pitch. Just real glitz out type one. Just with the appeal. This real one to really get smoked to and have a good head trip to as far as those pitches can have and just enjoy the times. classic type glitz and appeal I'd have to say about this particular fair. Trap Boom is a vicious one as well. It's like a vintage kind of Project Pat-esque kind of Night Thunder kind of get here. Just late rounds of commerce. I feel like this is just like late rounds commerce. I'd have to say grab some goodies, smoke up as far as this pitch can go. So just a concept, typical type fashion like those 3-6 Mafia kind of snack runs. Some of that type fare is haunting on the go pitches like that. Just some night strolls, just summer activities, some of that type good stuff. Just weaving in the night wind pitches like that. It's more residential bound within a sense, but it's a concept of getting like burritos and Taco Bell, some of that type fare, just in the pitch behind it, things like that. Chex Mix, some of those aspects, just as it's good type tone. I got with Pimp C and Project Pat's another vicious one. This has like a nice zombie type sample. I want to say it was like Kerncraft, something like that, but it's just good type appeal. It's like a lively kind of dance club heat to kind of get here. Probably should have been a single, like I was saying, good type pitch. It's just kind of out in the demon time as far as what's first going to happen. Real nice glitz of one. This is sort of concept of this album really had like some good snaring type appeal. This is real commercial type sense. It really nails the aspect of like this social type vibe. It's a little bit more lively within the pitch. I mean, this is some concepts compared to like the singles off of Most Known Unknown, like Poppin' My Collar, and Side to Side, some of those type ones that were just a little bit more gnarled. Some of these type ones, at least, they further nailed like the commercial aspect of it. I really think a lot of these probably could have had a lot more glitz and glamour within the pitch, and I'm not saying that they didn't, but these just did have that glitz and glamour. It's just kind of the pitch as far as saying that this is some aspects here. This is some aspects here that just had a pretty vicious type appeal and just nailed the particular vibe of just having like step out. Just I mean the whole album has that step out down pretty pat. I definitely think the social score is going to get a 10 out of 10. It's just the pitch that some of these just have a little bit more commercial friendly type of feel. It's just like basically taking the concept of like the Unbreakables, that gnarled nastiness and like the hauntingness of Most Known Unknown, and then just applying it to more commercial type formats. I mean, it is haunting. It's just kind of concept. This is a pretty good niche for them. That's why it's a big problem that they didn't put out Laws of Power, because it probably would have advanced the sounds that they were doing here. This is very commercial. It's surprising that this album just didn't chart a lot heavier. It's really unfortunate. Look after it. There are some further snack run type songs as well. PlayStation's a nice one. It's like a snaring kind of night bendy glitz kind of get here in like a horror gnarled sense, I'd had to say. Vintage 3-6 Mafia Crunk Riler as far as this pitch kind of goes. It's a good song for turn-ups. It's just within pitch as far as saying. When I talk about a Crunk Riler, it's just kind of concept like that traditional kind of tear the club up thugs pitches like that. Who Run It, some of those type pitches. This is a vintage one from like the early 2000s, back when they were more of like a larger click as far as those pitches kind of go. It's kind of some of those type ones. This would be a great one to kind of hear Crunchy Black on, some of those type fares. It is traditional kind of 3-6 Mafia. This is a close one to horror within that sense. It's a little bit more gothic within those aspects. It's good type snarl just within the fare behind it. Great snack run type music, like I said about a lot of these, but just kind of the appeal. Just like some good venue type noise, but just in the pitch, it just more demon time kind of oriented. So it's good type fare, just traditional kind of haunting 3-6 Mafia. Weed Blow Pills is a pretty vicious type one as well. It really has like a malaise type beat I really appreciate on here. It's like a harrowing and grim kind of consistent night jubilance to kind of get here. Just typical kind of 3-6 Mafia snack run and tracks as far as those pitch can go. So it's just the concept of this being out on the night grind pit. It's kind of being out on the night grind pitches like that as far as this fair is going to happen. Just kind of the concept of this like it's kind of being out on the night grind pitches like that. Just the concept of like it's kind of the concept of being out on the night grind pitches like that. Just the aspect of getting some night errands done, just being amidst like the standard demon time livings. It's a good concept for like 7 o'clock to about 7 o'clock p.m. to probably about 3-4 in the morning. Some of those type fairs are just like that traditional type fair, just the commerce of it. I'd say I Told Them's a good type of PL. It's like a further stock night commute thunder kind of get here, just like Trap Boom and PlayStation, some of those type ones. It's ghastly, I definitely would say here, just enjoy the lateness factor. So a lot of these just are stock highlights, just kind of the pitch of traditional kind of 3-6 Mafia, just in the aspect. It's stock type ones, don't really have the commercial aspect. It's not really like it needs it. It's just kind of the pitch of just getting those night run type ones. It's great smokage type tunes just within the pitch, smoking with you and some pals as far as this pitch can go. Just traditional kind of night activity. It's stock type ones. These are just pretty stock within the format of these. These are just ones that you just have for like that night commerce pitch like that. Corner Man's a pretty quality one though. This is a close one to Makeshift. If you'll notice, I haven't talked too terribly about Makeshift on here. Some of these ones I'm going to list later on are going to have some Makeshift type of appeal. I think at least Hoodstar kind of had that, but Corner Man's a real nice one. Corner Man's like around the neighborhood, kind of finishing up late day tasks, I'd have to say, within these pitches. It's kind of something for more of like, not so much past like 8 o'clock p.m., those type fairs, but just more something that probably be like 4:45, 5:45, 6:15, some of those type fairs, just the concept of like finishing up the last moments. Just mild primer type music, I'd say, an extra time kind of drifting, I'd have to suppose. It's kind of concept, but just like just wondering, all right, am I going to get tore up tonight? What am I going to do for like these next few hours? It's the task of completing work for the day, just that leftover task and errand wrap up as far as this first gonna happen. Just kind of the pitch behind, just like, all right, work's done, now what? Just kind of the pitch, just some extra. I like that concept. There's really not too many songs like this on here as far as this first gonna happen. Just kind of one for like some neighborhood kind of jaunts and pitches like that, just within the concept, just like this spare thoughts and pitches like that. Just almost a rumination song, but just from the pitch, it just like probably gonna get tore up a bit. Some of those type bears, good type tone. Get Your Rob is Get Your Rob is a nice one, as well as like a snaring kind of horrorcore 36 Mafia, very similar to '09 Juicy J. I would have to say off the Hustle Till I Die. It's kind of it's definitely a song for being in the night wind, just kind of out and about as far as this first going to happen. So if you particularly like the production fare on Get Your Rob, I would definitely have to highly recommend Juicy J's Hustle Till I Die. Just continues that appeal. Basically, Hustle Till I Die is just like a horror type version of this like 36 Mafia. It's just kind of the concept of the Juicy J is just really getting tore up. That's one of the most vicious albums I can think of for like at least late 2000s type fare within the pitch, like the traditional type fashion, and getting hella crunk and pitches like that. Just having zonked out, complete red cup type music on a pretty daily blitzed out basis. It's kind of within the concept like that horror type fashion, but this particular song is just like a primer to that Get Your Rob. And it has Project Pat on there as well, so it's a good type pitch for that, good type tone. Good type tone, I'd have to say. And then My Own Way is a nice one. And this reverts it back to the makeshift type appeal. This is like songs like That's Right and Corner Man and Hood Star, some of those type ones. This has that mild kind of drifting kind of pop rap type appeal, I'd have to say. It's like a fresh off a typical kind of makeshift day hours, I'd have to say here. Just glazed but content, I'd have to say about this particular song. It's a little bit B-leaguer, but just kind of aspect, just kind of chug along. It's like some good air and commerce, I'd have to say, and just some dark drifts to kind of get within those aspects as far as that particular kind of goes. So just kind of one of those type ones that is a typical kind of is air and type run within pitches behind it. Just that kind of glazed type aspect, like a summery type romp pitch, just like that. Just within the concept of just like it's a little bit more darker and dim type atmosphere just within the pitch behind. But I do like the appeal of the aspect behind this one. This is more of like a bustle type song and this is a more plain type sense. It's kind of a concept, but just a chug along type one. There are kind of some chug along type songs on here as far as those aspects kind of go. Just kind of the concept of just like, yep, I'm getting to the money pitches like that. But just kind of the concept of just realizing that it's just kind of more just straying from the beaten path as far as those aspects kind of goes. It's just kind of the concept. I mean, the actual thing about this product is there's not a ton of hustle songs on here. Just the pitch of like the money get and some of those type fares. Just kind of the concept of that. I mean, it is on here in like a traditional type fashion. Listen to some of these, like when you think of songs like That's Right, My Own Way, but it's just kind of the concept, or Corner Man, some of these type ones. But most of this is just kind of in a more B-leaguer type fashion as far as like the tone and just being able to say that like the hustle songs are a little bit more malaise on this particular product, but the turn up is definitely pretty vicious on here. So it's just kind of the concept as far as saying it's just kind of the aspect that like the hop to it is just not quite as respite on this. There's just not as much hop to it delight as far as this pitch can go, but there is plenty of vicious energy, so it's just within the concept of a good type tone. So basically, 10 out of 10 score. The social score probably gets like a 9.75 or something like that, but then I would probably just say the social score gets a 10 out of 10 within the pitch. I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't get a 10 out of 10 or would basically get like a 9.75 is just within the pitch that it really only has one bang up single in terms of like the most commercial aspects of it. It does have Akon on here, and that song My Own Way that I was talking about, that's like a typical kind of makeshift day hours, just the dark drifting type music and some air and commerce. That particular song has Good Charlotte the band on the hooks. That's a good type of appeal for that. It's the concept of just getting Joel Madden on there as far as this pitch can go. Kind of a good snag as far as this pitch. They have some pretty good hooks on here, like Akon does a nice one, Life Jennings, Pimp C does pretty good hook, Good Charlotte, some of these type folks just in the pitch, but you just look after it like I'm kind of losing track of the point I was trying to say here. The thing I was talking about, the social score as far as this pitch can go, is the concept that it just doesn't have a traditional type. I mean, this is not quite as much of like a classic. This particular product doesn't have as many head ringers, like when you think of Pop in My Collar, Stay Fly, and Side to Side, some of those type pitches, and just further ones within those pitches. I mean, it's definitely a classic here within those aspects, but it just feels a little bit just like the fashion, just a little bit more in a hardcore type sense, as if like, you know, most folks would probably, in terms of a casual sense, really only go for Lolly Lolly, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying it is one of 36 Mafia's best. Definitely has plenty of vicious ones on here. The nightclub type glitz, there's definitely plenty of songs for casual type appeal. Just fishing through some of this project, just being able to get towards this. I would just ignore the concept like the fashion, just what is probably consumpted about this product. Just typical kind of 36 Mafia darkness, just an aspect, some of their best that they've done. Some of the most haunting productions, good pop rap type appeal, some good makeshift glaze pitches like that. Just kind of the concept of that typical type thunder that just nails in space. And I like these Project Pat features, like these hooks on here, like the overall production production value and just like a haunting sense. It really nails it. That's his concept. So 9.75 or 10 is either within the pitch. But I look after in terms of the future, like I said, 36 Mafia has not been around, but they did actually drop further projects as like the Mafia 6 in like the mid 2010s. I reviewed some of these back in like the very early days of Acid Roots, I'd say, but I do need to get to their 2015 album, Watch What You Wish, as far as those pitches can go. But apart from that, there's not terribly many 36 Mafia, traditional 36 Mafia albums. There is, at least, like I said, I'm probably going to review the kind of pseudo-released album, Laws of Power, and then there's like the ones like Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and then like Choices, the album, some of those affairs. But for the most part, I basically wrapped up 36 Mafia. A few more to kind of get to, and I definitely want to get to Laws of Power, but this is a pretty vicious classic, very underappreciated, definitely deserved more attention than it got, but just understand that concept that it is one of 36 Mafia's best.